So what's in my case when I'm traveling out to your average live stream with, let's say, 2 or 3 cameras? Don't go anywhere, we're gonna show you everything that I bring with me. Hey everyone, Zephin Moses Blacksburg here, and I am with ZMB Media. Thank you so much for watching my channel. We talk all about live stream gear, live stream tips, some videography advice as well along the way. And thank you so much for being here. So please hit that like and subscribe button below. That lets me make more content for you absolutely free so that I can teach you all the things that I've learned in doing my work. So let's start off with the first piece in my case. This is something that comes with me to pretty much every single live stream. This is a Pelican 1607 Air case. It's much lighter than the original Pelican cases that were out, and I absolutely love it. It's on wheels and it's 2-leveled, so I'll show you that right here. Let's go ahead and get this guy open. So, first thing inside the case that you'll see is this lovely little shelf that actually sits on top of the bottom. So you can see there's some stuff hidden down there. We'll get to that in just a moment. So this top piece has a zipper sort of mesh, and this lets us make sure that we can keep everything inside this pocket, especially when you're traveling and stuff gets kind of tossed around. So that just zippers away. We can open this up. So I'm gonna walk you through every little compartment that I have here, what I've got, and what we're using it for. So this top left, this is my Atomos Shogun 7. Now, originally I bought this because it has 4 SDI inputs and can actually act as a 4 SDI camera switcher. You can just touch the screen and switch between all 4 camera angles. Now, I mostly just use this now as my program monitor and for recording the program feed, and I have the ability to loop out the video, whether it's HDMI in and HDMI loop out, or SDI in and SDI loop out. So being able to send this to another screen is super valuable. I've got this lovely little kind of protective piece for it. I just got this through B&H Photo, nothing special here, but I do like that because I can pull this out of the case and not worry about the screen getting scratched up. Now, I also have our power cable for that just kind of sits right on top because this is a pretty deep pocket here, so we've got some space. And then up here, we've got a couple of USB-C cables because you never want to forget one of these when you're working with a Blackmagic ATEM Mini. So we have 2 of those. Moving down this way, couple of shorter HDMI cables. So typically I reserve the red ones for the important feeds, the program feeds. I'm using these when I'm sending my main HDMI out from my ATEM Mini Extreme into the Atomos Shogun, and then also if I need to loop it out somewhere else. So just a couple of backup. These are maybe only 5 or 6 feet long maximum. And then below those, my awesome secret weapon here. These are mini tripods. They actually are pretty heavy duty metal. They can hold, I think, up to 20 pounds, and they fold up really nice and small. I use one of them for the Shogun, and then the other 2, I will explain momentarily. It's for something that's hidden underneath of the case here. So I've got 3 of those. Next column down, first thing we've got, my secret weapon that always comes with me is a Decimator MD-HX. I love, love, love the Decimators because I've got HDMI input, HDMI output, SDI input, SDI output, and these can also scale before they send the output. So this is something that I use anytime that we need to use it kind of like a splitter, or if we need to scale the resolution of something. I really, really love these. They are so worth every single penny. If you do not have them in your kit, I highly, highly recommend it. Moving on down the line here, this is a Blackmagic ATEM streaming bridge. The streaming bridge allows you to send your program feed to it from the ATEM using the Ethernet port, and you can go Ethernet direct into here, or this streaming bridge could be somewhere else in the world and you could stream to it. And then you've got the ability to take 2 SDI outs and an HDMI out. So this is really, really nice if you need to extend the outputs on your ATEM. There's a little power cable for that in here, just a little locking power connector that came with it. Next up is a switch. This one is a 5-port Ethernet switch. It's just a Gigabit switch from TP-Link. And we like to use this so that we can connect all of our devices. So if you've got extra laptops, if you want to connect the ATEM to a laptop, so maybe one person can run graphics on the ATEM while another laptop is used for controlling using the software control. And of course, a backup Ethernet cable. We always bring these with us anyways, but it's always good just to have one in here in case you misplace or break one. Next down the line, we've got some headphones. This is just a nice pair of Sennheiser headphones that fold away into this little pocket here. And below that, we've also tucked in here a 4-port HDMI splitter. So this allows you to take one HDMI input and split it out to 4 other devices. Fantastic if you need to split out a program feed to multiple television screens or anything of that nature. Moving on down. These are a couple of converters that we like to keep on hand. So again, from Decimator, these are the MD-HXs. They have an HDMI input, HDMI output, SDI input, and SDI output. They can be powered over USB, and so these are some really awesome bidirectional cross converters. Again, very similar, the Blackmagic microconverters, bidirectional SDI and HDMI. So these are really good to have on hand. For example, in my case, where I'm shooting on a Canon C70 that doesn't have SDI output for the longer cable runs, so needing to convert that and then convert it back at the ATEM side, these are super useful. So I've got 4 of them, 2 from Blackmagic and 2 from Decimator. Why should I have 2 from 2 different brands? Well, you never know when something might crap out on you and you need to have some backups on you. So it gives us 4 of them, plus the Decimator here gives us a 5th one. And then of course, if we needed to be able to get our program out signal as SDI, we've got our streaming bridge here. Now in this bottom section, as if having 1 to 4 as a splitter wasn't enough, we have a 1 to 2, so 1 HDMI input, 2 HDMI outputs, always good just to have in case you have to split off to another screen. Some additional cables and solid state drives, so if we fill up the solid state drive for our Shogun, we can always whip out another ½ terabyte and just pop that in and keep recording. These are USB and USB-C to SATA cables that allow us to pop in these drives right into a computer. So we keep those on hand as well, both the regular USB and USB-C, because even though my computer is all USB-C, you never know if you need to plug this into someone else's computer. So this is our top shelf. It's kind of like at a bar where you have your top shelf liquors and your bottom shelf. So we're gonna wrap this guy up, and then these 2 handles, this just comes right up out of here and off to the side to reveal, this is our ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. So we sit this down here in the bottom section. We've got a little divider just between it. And then we have our screen. This is a 15.6-inch monitor from Seetec. What I love the most about this is it has 4 HDMI inputs and 4 HDMI loop outs. So you could loop the HDMI out of this, and theoretically, if you had something like the ATEM Mini or the ATEM Mini Pro, where you had issues getting both a multi-viewer and a program output, this now allows you to fake having that program output because all 4 of your cameras can loop through here, so you can see your multi-view, and then your 1 HDMI output on your ATEM Mini or ATEM Mini Pro, or ATEM Mini Pro ISO for that matter, can be reserved for your program feed, which would then go into your Shogun if you wanted to record on there. Just some power cords tucked away off to the side, but that is pretty much everything for this case. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop this guy right back in here, make sure that these are not overlapping when we go to close it, and we are not done. So this is our main case that comes with us usually on the road. So that's our Pelican Air 1607. And now it's time to make this guy disappear and show you what is up next. So in 3, 2, 1, ta-da! So our case has disappeared and we're on to the next item that we bring with us for our live streaming shoots, our Instacrates. And I really love these because they actually fold down flat. So these sides, they can collapse inwards and then the whole thing will fold down. So if you don't have these filled with stuff, you can transport this really easily or just slide it away in a closet. Now, what do I like to use these for? Well, it's mostly for cables. So usually I'll use them as an organizer in the studio where I can put video cables in one, sound cables in another, maybe Ethernet and power in another, but I will almost always have at least 2 of these on the road with me when I'm going to a live stream. So in these I've got some HDMI cables, I've got some extra longer Ethernet cables, and we've got some SDI cables tucked away down here. One other really important thing that we keep with us, this is some spike tape. So we'll use spike tape if we're labeling our inputs on the ATEM. We just run a little strip of the tape down underneath the number buttons and then we can label what is what. Usually some gaff tape that's hidden down in here, some additional cables, adapters, things of that nature. So these crates are really a favorite of mine, and they're only like $10 or so at Costco. So it's a really affordable piece that you can have in your car, and it allows you to transport everything safely and securely. So let's go on to the next thing that's in my case. We're gonna make these disappear in 3, 2, 1. And this is our TV bag. So this is a bag from Gator. It's made to hold up to 27-inch monitors, and it can hold 2 of them. So there's a shoulder strap for easy carrying. And then basically you just unzip the top here. Got some Velcro. And you can see on our camera overhead here, we've got 2 TVs. So what we did was we custom cut just some extra foam that was left over from another project so that we could fit these a little bit easier. These are LG televisions. I believe they're about 24 inches. And I'll show you what one of them looks like. So you can see here, LG television. These are really nice for us to have on our shoots because I took an impact mounting bracket and now we can mount these onto a light stand. So this just gives us further flexibility. We don't have to bring feet that you gotta screw in, otherwise they would snap off while you're transporting this. I really love these TVs. They're super thin profile. You can see they're really not that big. And to have 2 of them, one for our multi-view and then one for our program, this is something that I've kind of evolved to over time. So when I'm not using that smaller 15.6-inch monitor that you saw in the bottom of our Pelican case, I can pull out 2 of these, just pop them on some light stands right in front of our table, and this gives us everything that we need. So I'm going to go ahead and make these TVs disappear back into the case, and then we'll go on to our next thing in 3, 2, 1. So our next product is the Cinebag. I absolutely love the Cinebag. This is actually something that I've had with me for many years now, long before I even built out this whole live streaming kit. This bag I can take on an airplane and I can stuff everything into it. So on top of the fact that it's got a gazillion pockets everywhere, the main access point is in the back. And the reason why I like that is it prevents any of your gear from being stolen because nobody can just open this and take stuff out. So normally in here, when we're filming, I'll place my 2 main cameras. Right now, it's a Canon C70 and the Canon EOS R, and then I can actually squeeze 3 lenses, some AC adapters, some batteries, memory cards, cables, all sorts of things right into that main pocket. On the top pocket, I can actually fit a 70-200 lens. So my 70-200 is in here. Then usually I've got a 16-35 and a 24-70 inside that inner pocket in the bag. Just put some extra padding on this really to make sure, because this is in the top pocket, that this stays nice and protected. And then all these little front and side pockets. There's actually a laptop sleeve in the front here, so this is really nice. Sometimes if I don't have my laptops in here, I'll actually stick my gimbal in here. So the DJI RSC2 folds down nicely and fits in here. Sometimes just an XLR cable or 2. anything that I need to squeeze in that just needs another home to be protected. So the Cinebag, fantastic backpack. It's a little bit beefy, but that's for a good reason. It can really carry so much stuff. And you can see I've got my nice little custom patch here on the front, courtesy of an Etsy store that I found online. So in 3 seconds, we're gonna make this guy disappear and we'll go on to our next product in 3, 2, and 1. And this is our sound mixer. So I keep a Zoom LiveTrack L8 mixer in a Gator case. This is kind of a hard shell case, so we can help make sure that this doesn't get crushed at all. It's got a shoulder strap to it, and when we open this guy up, we've got tons of room for the mixer, some additional cables, adapters, things of that nature. And so as you can see here, we've got our mixer, up to 8 channels, 6 of them XLR, 2 of them are 1/4 inch, and then we can also have 2 XLR outputs as well as multiple 1/4 inch headphone outputs. And then also inside this case is a bunch of little cables, adapters. I've got, a 1/4 inch to XLR. I've got, this is actually a really nice Blackmagic mini converter. This is the SDI to HDMI 6G. The reason why I have this one is because if you ever needed to extract audio out of something. So I use this when I need to take audio out of a computer and send it to my sound guy before he's sending me the sound for the entire event back as a return feed. This allows you to take either HDMI in or SDI in, and then you get an SDI output, and then you also have a left and right audio output as 1/4 inch. So that's why we use this with the computer. We'll run the computer, usually HDMI into this guy, and then I'll send the 1/4 inch audio out to my audio team on site. Extra pair of headphones, just some cheap junky ones that, they'll work if we need to get the job done, but I won't mind if we break them or crush them. A bunch of other just adapters and cables, so everything from 3.5 millimeter to 1/4 inch and XLR. The one most important cable that we have in here though, and this is one that we're using quite often with the ATEM, is right here. It's a little bit disorganized at the moment, but this cable takes a left and a right XLR, and it gives you a 3.5 millimeter. And that's usually what we're using when we go into the ATEM. So if we have either a sound mixer like this on site, or if we're bringing in an audio team, this is usually the one cable that's running into the ATEM that's making most of the magic happen. So this is our mixer case from Gator. It's a hard shell case, and it gives us just enough room for the Zoom LiveTrack L8 as well as all of our cables and adapters. So let's go ahead and make this guy disappear, and we will see what we've got next for you in 3, 2, 1. And so we have a Pelican 1500 case. This is really just a case that I got used because it fit these 2 items best. So let me explain to you what we have in here. This is not something that will always be coming out with us on a live stream, but it's something that we do have if we need. So what I love the most about this case is that it fits 2 things and serves 2 different purposes. One, this is actually fitting our Edelkrone Slider. So we have a motorized slider that we bring with us on occasion if we wanted to, say, run like maybe a small slider shot with like a wide angle lens down at the bottom of the stage. It's got all of our batteries, it's got the panning head to it, so this whole first half of this is just dedicated to the slider. Now on top of that, we have this case that comes out, so that's what makes this really modular, is we can just take this with us. And this is actually our wireless transmitter. So we've got all of our antennas that sit here in the top of the case, and then when you unzip the bottom of the case, we've got our actual wireless transmitter and receiver. These run with HDMI signals, and we've got our AC power cables. We bought some online that were a little bit longer, like 8-footers, because it didn't come with any power cables. But these transmitters can go 1,200 feet line of sight, which is phenomenal if you're doing a live stream and you're out in a big field or something, and they run off of batteries. So I can just plug up a Sony MPF battery to this thing. And if I don't need to bring that slider with me, I just simply pull this case out of the bigger case and just take this with me, maybe throw it in one of those Instacrates that we have. So 2 items that are super, super helpful when we do need them, but not items that we're constantly taking on each and every single live stream. So let's go ahead and send this guy away, and let's see what's up next. SDI reels, SDI cables, BNC connectors that you might be familiar with. SDI cables allow us to do a longer cable run than the traditional HDMI because traditional HDMI you don't really trust much further than 25 to 30 feet. Now, if you're trying to get HDMI fiber optic or HDMI optical cables or even active HDMI cables, we have another video about that on the channel where you can see a whole lot more information, so feel free to check that out. But these are two 200-foot SDI cables, and pretty much I just bought the cable separately from these reels. I think the reels are called jack reels. They're maybe 45 bucks, give or take. And what I had to do was custom drill. There's actually a hole inside underneath this whole reel so that the cable can run through, and then it comes out the side, and you wrap usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 feet on this end, because this is the end that you're going to connect into your converters, your switcher, your wherever you want to send your feed to, and then you can run this reel out. In this case, these go 200 feet out to your camera. I use these very frequently when we're at a length that's greater than 50 feet because that's where most of my active and fiber optic cables are. So this will give me a 200-foot range. You can get SDI cable reels up to 300 feet. And then of course beyond that you can go with either fiber or you might pull out that wireless transmitter that I just showed you. But all in all, these two cable reels are a great investment. They're not that expensive to make for yourself, and I highly recommend it, especially if you combine them with those bidirectional converters that I usually keep in my kit. So these are the last of my kit that I like to bring out on a live stream with me. As you can see, it's not a ton for what it really is. You could fit this in the back of any average car or in the trunk, but these are all really crucial and important to taking with us. Some things not pictured here are the cameras that would have been in the Cinebag, the tripods that we might bring with us, and then of course any lights, light stands, C-stands, anything of that nature. But outside of that, this is most of what's in our kit. So I'd like to thank you so much for watching and tuning in this far. I know that this was a very detail-oriented video, so if you're still with me, please do hit that like and subscribe button below, and we will see you in our next video.